Video blog.
Hey guys, this is Tim from Twice Circled, and welcome to the latest episode of the official Megaquarium video blog. Gosh, it's been a while since I've said that. It's been almost exactly 4 weeks since the launch of the game, and this is the first vlog that I've done because I've been so busy doing updates and improving things in the game. So what I have for you today is I've just released a really big update at the time of this vlog going out, so I'm going to go through some of the really cool things that I've added, and I'm also going to show you guys the Sandbox mode, which I haven't had a chance to show you yet. So that'll be pretty cool. Okay, so let's just get straight into some of the things that have been added. So the first thing, and this is kind of perfect because I was actually struggling with this myself in this Sandbox game, which I've already got going, where I couldn't paint underneath the edges of this Chrysal tank. So one of the things I've added is now if you go and select one of these paints, I'm loving this Harbourside paint at the moment, you can now actually get underneath this tank. So I can actually just drag like that, super easy. You can do it from the top as well, actually, as long as you go right to the edge. And this also affects the Balefast tanks, so I can now get those little corners. So that was a pretty requested feature, so it's nice to have that because, hey, I get it guys, that's pretty frustrating having to move your tanks just to paint underneath them. So that's the first one, which is just like right there. Now I'll go through the major ones now. The next big ones are I've upgraded how the message window works. So this is really great jumping straight into a game because we've actually got like direct uses for this upgrade. Now there's two features I've added, and hopefully you can use either both of them, or you can just use one of them, and it will depend on the sort of player that you are on which one you'll prefer. Now what I'm trying to solve here is a problem with all of these growth events and sometimes the autopsy events, although you'll notice that, oh gosh, okay, I do have a couple. You'll notice that I don't have too many autopsy reports. Jeez, I got more than I thought. But hey, they clog up your event list and you can't see the important things like the merchants, like the side objectives, like the trades. And so we've got two options for dealing with this, right? We can just use this button up here, which is the show important messages only toggle. Literally a single click and look at that. All we have is nice, clean message list, just showing the things that we really care about. Now it's not just the growth reports and the autopsy reports that are filtered out, it's also things that you've already completed. So for example, these side objectives, these two side objectives we haven't actually started yet, and if we take these on, they will remain here. The only time they disappear is when you've completed them and there's really no point in having them anymore. So let's find an example of that. Yeah, Kingdom was my favourite. Okay, so this is completely finished. I'm never going to need to use it before, so it filters it out. But if you want to, you can go back and read the text by taking that toggle off. Now the second way that you can achieve the same thing but without using this toggle is if you prefer sort of inbox zero, right, having completely empty inbox, and you don't want to use filters, you can actually just delete a load of messages now. Now, to stop you guys deleting things by accident and frustrating yourself, you can't delete anything that's still active, right? So basically the same sorts of messages that weren't hidden, you can't actually delete those. But if we want to, for example, delete this message, this growth message, we can just click the little cross in the corner, which only appears when you hover over it, click delete, and off it goes. Now the eagle-eyed among you will have seen that there's a third button here, which is delete all. This allows us to delete all of the growth messages in one go. Bam. Alright, and that's all the growth messages gone. This lets us delete all the autopsy reports, and now we've actually got a very similar sort of list to when we had that filter on, except it's just these completed quest messages, or side objective messages, whatever you want to call them, are still there. Now we can actually delete these too if we want to, but I actually quite like to keep these around because they're sort of a bit of history. I can kind of go back and remember the sorts of quests that I've done. So what I actually like to use is this important toggles, with sometimes clearing out the old growth reports and autopsy reports. So that's the first big upgrade. Now hopefully that will really improve the playability of the game. I hope you guys enjoy that one. Now the next one we're going to have to play a little bit before it comes out, so I'm just going to play, and any time that I notice something which can which has changed, I will just draw your attention to it. So what are we actually doing in this one at the moment? So yeah, the next thing is actually, if you guys haven't played the game yet, or if you've only played the missions and you haven't made it through to the Sandbox mode yet, I'm going to explain how that thing works. So Sandbox mode, you don't have any global objectives anymore. You just can build any aquarium you like. Now, it's pretty cool, right, because you can actually vary the starting conditions of your game. So you can start at a relatively low rank, you can start at the highest rank, you can tweak the number of these sort of trader, merchant and side objective events that turn up. And you can also choose how randomized you want it. Now I like actually playing with this fish randomization on. I can't remember, I think it's called randomize availability is what it's called. And what this means is that the animals that are actually available to me, both to start with and to unlock, are randomized. So each time you play a new sandbox, it will be slightly different. And some animals, unless you choose the everything available option, which you know, I won't show it to you now, but it's actually, I can totally show it to you now. If I go here, without starting a new game, I can actually show you the sandbox here. So this is the randomized availability. Here's fish availability. Now, I like to play with not everything available. If you choose everything available, then you can unlock every single animal using your ecology points. But if you go with one of these two, I actually really, the very limited level is really cool. It means that you have to actually get most of your animals through side objectives, actually no, trades it is, and merchants. Which is pretty fun. It is pretty exciting when you have to sort of buy an animal, grow it to full size, trade it for another animal, and then use that animal to fulfill a side objective, because you can't just like unlock them using ecology points. It means you have to be a lot more experimental and ingenious in the way that you do things, and it makes every game feel a little bit different. So that's just a quick overview of sandbox mode. The idea is to offer new challenges while also giving you ultimate flexibility in the way you play the game. Now, another thing that I've added is, which is quite requested, was you can sometimes be annoying when you've got like a really big list of stuff, constantly having to like scroll down to the bottom. Like say we wanted to have a load of these cold water ones, which are grouped here. We've got the pollock, ballan wrasse, cookie wrasse, and the picus crab. You choose one, you put some in a tank, and then when you go back, it used to scroll you all the way back to the top and it would reload the whole menu, which when you've got a lot of animals could actually take a few seconds. So now it doesn't do that, so I can actually just keep grabbing each animal one after a time. Now if we go to a different menu, it does reset it to the top. Obviously it has to kind of clear it all out and replace it with what you're looking at, but that's a cool addition. So it's also good for decorations, because these are right down here, and often you want to do lots of different decorations. You don't want to just do the same decoration over and over again. You know, I'm just going to paint underneath here. Okay, I'm just going to set this game going so we can get back into it. Now, I think with this particular game, let's see where we are with our quests. So, you know what, I just bought a couple of these volatons, so I should probably use those. We've actually got this objective to keep some longhorn cowfish. Now, if I remember correctly, I've actually already got some of those. Yeah, I've got 4 of those, so you know what, I can actually do that quest. I'm so bad. I call them quests, I call them side objectives, I call them all like different things. You know what, you can call them whatever you like. Officially, I think they're called side objectives in the game. So we've just unlocked a big heater, which is going to be super useful. I'll probably go back and replace all of my old small heaters with those big ones. Now, what do we want to go for? I mean, money's always good, actually. I think I'm playing on hard mode in this particular sandbox, which means money's a bit tighter. Nitrate reactor is also good. I think I will go for the balloon shell. If I could go for, I'd rather upgrade my food, but I don't get that until the next rank, I don't think. So I've got this quest going. Now, what other quests have we got going on? We've got this one up here, common cuttlefish. So we need to have a cuttlefish for that. Now, actually, look, we can actually get a. This is what I was talking about earlier. Now, I don't think I can actually unlock cuttlefish in this game. I think they are actually like permanently excluded, but what's cool is we can get it via this trade and then use it to complete this side objective. Now we need a frilled anemone for this. We've actually got some frilled anemones. Are these fully grown? You know what, they already are. So I set this going a little while ago, and while I've been doing other things, that's actually become available. So there we go. We trade that in. We get some cuttlefish out. Now we just need to find a place for a cuttlefish. Now this is our cold water tank over here. It does have a little bit of space. We've got to be a little bit careful that it's not going to eat something. Now when this thing grows up, it will be size 13. Now this is something that's highly requested, which hasn't been updated yet, but a way of telling what the maximum size animal a fish can eat when it's fully grown. That will be coming soon, but it's not one of the things I've changed in this particular one. Oh, well, one of the big things I should say actually is that I've massively increased the staff cap. I've added 14 new staff. Now, I've got to mention that now because it's not going to come up during this vlog because I've got plenty of staff available for me right now. I've got 17 unused ones. In fact, I mean, yeah, it kind of goes to show I'm rank 7, day 55, and I've already got access to quite a lot. So I've increased the rate that staff come out because I know that some players were struggling with just not having enough staff and they just couldn't build the aquarium to the size they wanted to, which I completely get. So that's a big change. But what's cool is I've personally designed every single one of the staff members. There's actually a couple of new hair colours because I wanted to add a bit of variety. This sort of orange colour is new, and we've got this really nice yellow hair colour as well. So there's a bit more variety both with the guests and the staff. And yeah, each of the staff has their own little backstory, little description, so that's something very cool. So that's it for like the major changes. Oh, of course, no, but there's also... perfect timing. Look at that. Consummate professional. So people who already play the game will know that normally when a staff levels up and he gets the ability to gain a new skill point, it pops up in the middle of the screen. And you know, this is normally a really good thing, but when you get a lot of staff, it can start to get a little bit overwhelming. It can start to get in the middle of your building, because I know a lot of people like to play with the pause mode off, which I think is brilliant. Something I always thought was a shame with Big Pharma, my previous game, was that you had to play for the vast majority of the time with the pause menu on. It was the most efficient way to play, but in this particular game, you don't have to, and I think it's lovely because you can just kind of let everything keep chugging along. But the problem with that is when you're trying to build a big tank and then it comes up and the staff wants to level up, and it kind of changed it from being this really cool thing to being this slightly annoying thing. So what I've done is transferred that now into just a message. So you'll get a little thing saying, you know, one new message, you go click it, Miko's leveled up. Miko is my fixer, you can probably see that. So we're going to upgrade this, you click the button, and then that message is going to disappear. Now the cool thing about it is you're not going to get penalized for not clicking that level up button straight away. You don't need to like immediately hit pause and then running to it. It's actually possible for staff to accrue multiple staff points, skill points, and then you can just give them all out at the same time. The only penalty for that is that you're not going to get the advantage of that staff point until you use it, but you're not going to actually like miss out on some sort of like experience gain. It's not like they sort of like hit that cap and then wait for you to level them up. They just keep on accruing multiple staff points, so it really takes the pressure off, which is brilliant. A load of animals have just leveled up, not leveled up, sorry, grown. And what you can do is if you just click on them, they count as being red, and that means because of this filter that hides them. So that's the way I like to play, and then I'll clear them out every now and again. Let's upgrade Gabri. Now Gabri is currently my cleaner. She's a little harsh because he's actually got some really good skills. He's got a decent fitness for cleaning, but what he's really good at is charisma. So what I'm actually going to start doing is investing in talking, because we are actually rank 7 now, so I think if I recall correctly we can gain access to the podium. Yeah, so we've actually got access to the podium, so we should start using Gabri's talking ability now. I think I'm going to just build a couple more of these Belfast tanks before I go for this tunnel tank, I think. Oh, here's a cool new thing. It now tells you the maximum capacity on a tank as like a range on the item here as well as in the build menu. So before it would just have the minimum size, so this would just say 8, now it says 8 to 18. It means that you can see at a glance that this goes up to 225. Now, if you taggle, that's just not a word. If you tag this, I think is what I was trying to say, with the ability to see the active swimmer requirement of an animal, which is essentially the closest thing the game has to a sort of this animal needs a tank of this size or it will be unhappy. It's easy to see whether a tank will be big enough. Now the other thing I do need to do is I need to make this also show a range. A bit like the eating thing, I need to show ranges for when animals grow up, because what would really be useful here is to know what the active swimmer requirement would be when this thing is fully grown. But yeah, that will come in a later update, I'm sure. But that's pretty cool though, being able to say, well look, this Belfast tank can go up to 225 just at a glance. Anyway, so we're not going to go for the tunnel tank. I'm not going to go for the deep outcrop tank, because what my plan is, right, because what you see I've done here is I've made this circle so that the guests have a really easy way of going to lots and lots of different tanks, one after the other. And this is actually reflected in my view rate. I mean, I actually have a view rate of 100% with all of my tanks. So that means every single guest who is left within the last day has seen every single one of the tanks. And that might fluctuate, but I mean, it probably doesn't. And this is because the tanks are all kind of close enough together that when they see one, they immediately get drawn to the next one. Now, part of the problem if you have a kind of more confusing or drawn out, spread out set of tanks is that certain ones can be missed. But with it like this, it's very easy for them to see them all, which is pretty cool. So I want to keep expanding, and I want to maintain this 100% view rate, but the problem is I've run out of space now. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go in this direction, and I think my plan is just to have a couple of Belfast tanks, one on either side. So I don't think I'm going to go with either of these. Let's go for the nitrate reactor. Alright, excellent. So we wanted to use that cuttlefish. You know, I'm just going to see. I think we can probably just put a cuttlefish or two in this tank here. This is my cold water. Actually, no, tank's full, but that other cuttlefish will just go straight back to the message, so it's no problem. Now let's see what it needs. So we've actually got enough rock, we've got enough everything. We've even got enough water quality, so that should be fine. This thing is only a danger to fish and crustaceans. There's no crustaceans in there at the moment, and all of these fish are fully grown, way too big for the cuttlefish to have a go. If anything, the cuttlefish is the most at risk. It's at size 6, but it's armoured, because it's a nasty, quite a vicious predator, the cuttlefish. So it actually counts as a size 12, which means even the pollock, which is the largest animal here, won't be able to eat it. So that's great. So that's actually going to start this quest if we start it. So we just need to wait 3 minutes and we get a load more money, and that should be enough to complete my expansion over here. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to have to wrap up this vlog. But it's been great showing you the new stuff, and I don't know, if I'm mostly talking to people who've already bought the game or if I'm talking to new people, but feel free to ask any questions that you like below in the comments. What should we go for next? I definitely want to build... Okay, I think before doing an expansion, it's always good to have a little look at what you have in your aquarium. So we've got a couple of small animals that we haven't used yet. But actually, a lot of these are used. The turbot. I think we want to make a large cold water rounded tank. Ideally, I'd like to get some pie crust crabs in, but it might be tricky. Now, the reason I want to do a cold water tank is that we've actually got the ability to buy some bull husses. Now, this is pretty sweet because, I think this popped up maybe before, just as I turned rank 7. So one of the fun things about going for a lot of these events and a little bit more limited fish availability is you actually get to get certain animals when you shouldn't normally get access to them. The bull husses come out at rank 7, but I was actually able to... I can only get 2 in the entire game. This is it. I won't be able to get any more because I can't unlock them in this level, in this particular sandbox. But I can just buy 2 of these just straight up if I've got enough money for it. So I think I'm going to build a rounded tank for those guys, and I think it's about time to do that. This is all tropical stuff. And then, yeah, let's get the green moray eel for possibly adding to a different tank in due course. So now I'm going to do some building. Man, I do love this game. I think you can spend so long just planning things, can't you? So I think what I do want to maintain is access between this area and this area. So we want something like this. I think I'll move the gift shop supply over to here so that a staff member can just kind of refill from here quite easily. And then we're going to drag a wall. Actually, let's not drag a wall across because we actually want to add a new tank. That was a big pause, wasn't it? Very dramatic. Okay, this is complaining because these, I think, right, this is was shared between these two. Can this connect over there? Let's see. Yes, it can. Oh, gotta love those power pumps. You know, instead of... Actually, these will sell for slightly less than they're worth. Yeah, until they're fixed. And then I will sell them and replace them with a large heater. Romeo's gonna come over, it's fine. Okay, so let's build a second Belfast. Okay, that's not going to build because it's complaining about having no access at the back. We don't want to move this because I think it's only just reaching across that gap anyway. But if we drag it... Oh my word, okay. Now we might have to poke a little bit more into the area. Why is... Oh, that's because I'm drawing all over that thing. Something like that would be fine. I actually just want to give it a little bit more. Make sure it's definitely got enough space for the Starry Smooth Hounds. Let's do that, okay, and then I'm just going to see maybe I can move this. No, that's actually no longer close enough. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Let's move it back to where it was. And we don't want anything to die, so we're going to connect it to those two things. Let's just wait for Romeo to fix these things, and then we're going to replace it with a large heater, but we're going to move the heater to the other side so that it's... I can move it a little bit closer, and that should solve my issue. Now there's a whole host of other little bug fixes and tweaks which I might post in the video description. Yeah, I'll post it in the video description. I have to make a note to do that. But this is just, yeah, this is just how I kind of want to proceed, basically. Basically, you know, spend a little bit of time making some updates and then showing you guys what it's all about in a vlog. And I think that's just, you know, a good way forward for the game. So we're going to build this here, we're going to slide this down like that, and then we're going to move this. Now if you're wondering how I'm kind of able to make things pop up without clicking any buttons, I'm actually using hotkeys. So I'm pressing M for move and X for demolish, which is like the most important hotkeys in the whole game. If you're not using them, I strongly recommend using them. Okay, so let's just drag this down here. Now this is going to be cold water. Potentially we could actually connect these three together. I think that's worth doing. We will need another pump, but the cool thing about using another pump here is it actually gives us a load more space to add things. Oh, that's not right. I just connected cold and hot water together. Not a good, not a good idea. But if I connect it to this, not quite close enough. Now what you can do is you can see that this pump is essentially pumping water between these two tanks, and then this other pump to the south is pumping water between those two tanks. So actually you kind of daisy chain them together, and now all three of those are connected. So do we actually have the large chiller? We have the large chiller, we don't have the mega chiller. We have to add those immediately. Even with no animals in, a tank will always require heating or chilling as soon as you've added it to the circuit. So you have to make sure you do that, otherwise it's a very quick way of killing your animals, your existing animals. You suddenly connect it to a huge body of water but you don't have enough chilling, then the water will immediately warm up, so you've got to be careful with that. We're getting a slight water quality issue, and what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to sell these two, and I'm going to build... Did you see that? That was like the menu stayed in place. That's the change I made I was talking about earlier. Definitely a nice one. And possibly we could replace these two as well. I probably should have waited till Miko was finished fixing that. I would have got a bit more money back, but never mind. Gosh, these are expensive, but luckily I'm about to get another 7,200 for this Cuttlefish observation. And I think we're just about ready to buy our bull huskies. Now how much do they cost? 2,000. A bargain. They need supplements and they need cockles. I am going to make sure I do that first. If you're playing on a harder difficulty level, sometimes the food can actually be more expensive than you think it's going to be. And so it's a good idea to build your food before you add the animals, because you can get yourself into trouble. Now, of course, I've already paid for these. Let's just pump those two in. Oh, gosh, that's very risky, dropping them in just before the end of the day. Oh, that could have gone wrong. And look at this. Loads of people loving it. Our science is going up. Getting some nice prestige as well. And you know what? I think we might be about to rank up. So I'm just going to pause it. I'm just going to add a few decorations. Oh, I think a bit of a pirate theme. would be good for this particular tank. Let's twist it around. I really like the bull husks. They're cool. Now you've got to be careful with bull husks though, because they, if I remember correctly, they eat crustaceans, yeah. So those pie-crust crabs could be in danger, but you know what? I think once they're fully grown, the pie-crust crabs might be okay. Now, these grow in 6 days. The pie-crust crabs grow in 6 days as well. So let's add a couple of those now. Oh, I love the crabs. I love watching them walk around. They're so cute. And you know what? I think we're almost done here. Oh, we got to add some mussels, because them crabs got to eat. And then I'm just going to do a little bit of painting now, because this is our pirate area. We're going to have a little bit of pirate paint. And look at that painting underneath the Belfast tank. Super easy because of the latest update. I'm allowed to plug the updates. I'm the developer, come on. It's the whole point of this vlog. And you know what, you can see there's these people who don't have anywhere to sit. I think it's the perfect place for a couple of benches. It actually blends in really nicely, looks really good. Possibly a place to pick up a bit of coffee too. Ooh. Now the problem with adding these animals is we now have a slight issue with the water quality. So if we had the nitrate reactor, I'd add one of those, but we don't quite have that. So, oh cool. You know what? I'm just going to make that go away while I just finish this issue. We've got a double filter. I think we're just going to add that. We need to add it somewhere where it's not going to block access to this. So that would work fine. And then that's taken it over the top. And now what you can see here is we've got filter and skimming. Same value, which means that it's the most efficient. These guys are probably going to grow up soon. Oh, one more day. I hope that happens soon. Let's do our rank up. See what goodies we have access to in the next one. Oh, common lobster. I think I like the lobster even more than the crabs. I just have a real soft spot for the crustaceans. I would love to add more crustaceans. Okay, so we have some pretty high-level tropical fish here. A couple more cold here. Leopard shark's a really cool shark. The epaulet walks along the floor. It's very funky, but the leopard shark is like the first tropical shark that really, you know, it looks and feels like a shark. Same with the bull husk, to be fair, but that's not tropical. But that's a good one to put with some of our large fish over in this tank. We get access to some of the really big stuff here. Some cool coral. Popcorn carp, that'll be really good. That's the second rank of food, and then also the toilet. So yeah, loads of sciencey stuff. I might invest in some science stuff next. Let's just check. Romeo is ranked up. I'm using him mostly as a fixer, so let's upgrade that. 2 more seconds and we finish this quest. Very nice. And then if we just click off, you see that disappears. So this is basically the only things that I have going on. This one we've completed, but we still have some cuttlefish left. I could actually, I could put those in here. They grow up even slower than the crabs. Yeah, let's put them in here. Nitro reactor, and then, oh gosh. We're going to leave this choice till the next rank, I think. We're just going to put in some live rocks, a bit of rubble. For the cuttlefish, they really like it. Oh, you know what? Let's put in this triangle turban weed, because that gives you some rocks and a bit of filtering and stuff. Looks pretty cool, huh? Alright, and we're going to leave that research till the next episode. So yeah, thanks. I hope I return to this one. I don't know. I probably will. I might not. No promises. Thank you for watching, guys. And I hope you're already playing the game. If you're not, what the hell are you waiting for? Go grab yourself a copy, because, you know, look at all the fun I'm having. So, shameless plugs aside, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.